when the Rishis wrote the Puranas, the Upanishads, there was no language of science. So, the science which could not be explained in a language, they had no language to explain, we put it in stories. How do we look at these stories? We have two forms of thinking: psychological thinking and sensual thinking. Sensual thinking is an outcome of our experiencing life through the five senses. So, the five senses take everything literally. Psychological thinking is a way to unravel the mystery in what is written. Through sensual thinking, we create belief. So somebody will say, I believe in Ram. Somebody will say, I believe in Krishna. Somebody will say, I believe in something else. And they don't know why they believe. It's just a matter of like and dislike. Through psychological thinking, we come to something called faith. Faith is the function of finding new meaning. That not to take things literally what is written in the scriptures. We are not in any contention whether there was a Krishna or no Krishna. But definitely there is a pathway to find the inner Krishna. And that is the meaning which we should extract. We are not interested in history. We are interested in inner growth. So, sensual thinking is conditioned by the five senses. And most of our thinking is sensual. So somebody will tell us that Jesus turned water into wine, and we'll believe it. It could have happened. We don't know. But definitely Jesus did teach how to transform the lower psychic nature into the higher psychic nature. He did teach how to transform the lower energies into the higher energies. He did teach how to purify the emotions. Now when we look at this through our psychological thinking, then we see that maybe he's talking about something else. Not literally turning water into wine. So we have this story of Daksha Prajapati, and we saw that Daksha Prajapati is an embodiment of arrogance, an embodiment of the cunningness which we gather to fulfill our worldly desires. Daksh means cunningness. He is only interested in his personal gain, his personal benefit. And that is why he has this yajna without calling Shiva. Don't take Shiva as a god or something. Take Shiva as a name for that absolute tattva. How can there be any yajna without surrendering to the higher? But he has a yajna without Shiva. Then that yajna only comes from the ego. And his daughter was married to Shiva, and of course Shiva was not invited. We must observe self-love within ourselves. Whenever we feel resentment at being insulted, it is the self-love which has been hurt. The real can never be hurt. When we feel bitterness at somebody's action, when we feel something is unfair, it is not right. In nature, there is nothing like fairness. Even though all the animals come under one collective mind, some animals suffer more than other animals. Some animals die hungry. Some animals have more food than they need. So when we look at justice and fairness, we have to look at it from some higher standpoint. We have to wear our cap of psychological thinking. But we look it through the eyes of sensual thinking. It is that self-love in us which hates to be insulted. It hates to be laughed at. And when people are laughing, it always suspects that they are laughing at him. And this is a good way to catch the self-love. You see some people laughing, you feel they are laughing at me. Catch your self-love. Otherwise it will hide again. Whenever people praise us and we feel inflated a little, it is that self-love which is inflated. It loves people to admire it, to bow down to it. And when people bow down, it wears a safed, covering on top. How humble I am. I don't like people bowing down. So all this can happen through self-love. Everything through the ego. But if it hears two people talking about him and if they're criticizing him, then just as a bee stings us, it feels stung. So make this effort in observing self-love. It loves to give donations. It loves to have his name written on some school. All this is self-love. And this is the self-love which is Daksh Prajapati. And Parvati as Sati was born in his home. We do religious ceremonies, we do religious fasting, and we make it all an ornament of our self-love. I did so many fasts. I did so many japas. Ganpati has come to my home, all of you will come and pray. And it becomes a part of our self-love. Self-love travels 15 feet or 100 feet in front of us. Before I come into this hall, my self-love comes in the hall. We'll say, oh, they must have already kept a chair for me. And if they've not kept a chair for me, the self-love is hurt, it is stung. It's always traveling ahead. He or she will treat me like this. If you start now, if we can start now, in a few years we'll be free of this self-love. It's a long period of self-observation. So Daksha Prajapati is this self-love. And he has this daughter Sati. She marries Shiva. Shiva is not invited for the yagna, the sacrificial fire. And she jumps into the fire and dies. And yesterday we talked about this dying and being reborn. This is a part of the spiritual process. Something has to die and something is reborn. So she dies and then she is reborn as Shailaputri, the first Navratri. Shaila means the mountain. Now another deeper meaning of Shail is to glean. There's a very famous darshan in India. It is called Vaisheshik. It's very deep, very, very deep. And the Rishi of that darshan is called Kanad Rishi. Many times, I won't mention the religions, but when you see other religions which have become very famous in the world, their basic precepts have all been copied from Kanad Rishi. And it's a small darshan, but maybe the deepest. In the Gita, Krishna does not talk about Vaisheshik. He talks about Sankhya. He uses all the terms from Sankhya. Purush and Prakruti and Parpurush and Aparpurush. Kanad Rishi, he lived by gleaning. He used to, when the crop had been taken away from the field and the field was empty, he would dig the ground and whatever seeds he would find from the ground, he would collect them, and that was the way he lived. Gleaning, collecting. Shailaputri, the daughter of the mountain, we collect moments of consciousness. We collect moments of consciousness. Ganga Sati says, Vijdi na chamkare motira purami. It comes in a glimpse, that one glimpse. And then it comes in another glimpse. And then it comes in another glimpse. And we have to gather them. And from that we make a mountain, Shailaputri, the daughter of the mountain. So, she comes in a new life, Sati. The mountain is strength. The mountain is stability. Her attention is stable. Our attention is always roaming. But she has been born with stable attention. And that was the first form. These are the 9 forms of Durga. Let us today try to understand what is form when we use the word roop, because it is used in all the scriptures. What is the meaning of the word form? Before we were born, did we have a form? And did the form collect material and become a body? What is a form? And where does form come from? Life comes from the sun. Form comes from the planets. Material comes from the earth. Whenever we are holding any forms in our mind, it is planetary magnetism which allows us to hold those forms. Magnetism. It is the in-between the seen world of the senses and the unseen world beyond the senses. It is as if it's the boundary. Somewhere the senses can feel magnetism and beyond nothing can be seen through the 5 senses. It is the boundary between the seen and the unseen world, between the tangible and the intangible world. Magnetism. We teach children in the camps to visualize. Visualize is dharana shakti. When Patanjali is saying, Desh bandha chittasya dharana, in one space of your mind, try to hold a form. That very holding of the form is called dharana. Can we hold a form? So life comes from the sun. Form comes from the planets. When we want to build a home, we design a form in the mind. The architect has a form in his mind. It's not yet become a material home. It may take 1 year to build, it may take 2 years to build. But in that form, then material is filled in. Cement, concrete, bricks is filled into the form. But before the material was the form. Similarly, the soul has a form. I don't know, am I coming across in this? The soul has a form. The soul seeks a mother and father, then material is filled in by the mother and father into the form. Life comes from the sun, material, the magnetism comes from the planets. What is the quality of this soul? Dravyate. It has all its qualities in a liquid form. Then slowly as the soul grows up, certain qualities become cement and concrete. And we say he's a very angry person, a very nice person, very gentle person, very talkative person. Certain qualities become concrete. Certain qualities solidify. But at the moment of birth, they were all liquid. They solidify through something called acharan, repetition. That is why today's, yesterday's Devi was Brahmacharini, in whose acharan Brahma is reflected. The highest truth is reflected. Acharan, behavior, repetition. Through repetition is formed a habit. So the first daughter, the steadiness, and the second daughter, Brahmacharini. Attention is always in the Brahma. Her attention does not charva nati jatu, charini nahi. It does not move anywhere and everywhere. Right? Our attention, even sitting here, has moved to so many places, and we have to hold it to listen, to come back. Just as we have a physical country, we have a psychological country. When you and I say we had the same experience, it means psychologically we went to the same place. Like you will say, oh, both of us went to the same hill station. That is in physical space. Have we ever thought about it? That we may be all sitting on a dinner table, we are all physically so close, and psychologically we may be thousands of miles apart. Where do we live psychologically? Do we live on the hill station, or do we live in the gutter? Where do we live psychologically? If she has insulted me, I want to take revenge on her, and that I'm living in that thought all the time. Am I living on the hill station, or am I living in the gutter? Where am I living? Where do we live? When I am saying this is mine and I won't give it to anybody, where am I living? When I'm inflating my ego, where am I living? Which psychological country am I living? But her attention is only in one psychological country, where there is expanding consciousness. In the spiritual country of expanding consciousness. Brahmachari. And we saw that she remembers. She comes to a state of remembering. This is called Atma Sparan. We remember. What do we remember? Those who hurt us, those who didn't treat us well. What do we remember? Do we make an effort to remember the self? That is why double arrowed attention, to remember the self. Can we put ourselves in other people's shoes? When somebody insults us, can we self-remember? Of course, I must have insulted somebody. And can we go into those shoes that we know why that person insulted us? This is the meaning of forgiving, cancelling. We cancel the account. We balance the account. We make a cross entry. So, Brahmacharini, the second one, the second form. These are all forms of that Durga, that Shakti which gets rid of negativity. Durga, Durgati, Nashini. That Shakti which gets rid of negativity, which allows us to rise above negativity. These are all forms. That does not mean they have cement and concrete. We give them cement and concrete in a statue. We fill them up either with plaster of Paris or something. And because we are so attached to the statue, we never understand the form. And the form is somewhere else. It is made of planetary magnetism. Forms in the mind, they are made of planetary magnetism. Have you ever thought of where this magnetism comes from? That the food we eat, the first thing the blood absorbs from the food is magnetism. And this is a very, very, precious substance. It is that which allows us to form thoughts, to conceptualize in life. And the magnetism is formed immediately, and immediately if we get angry or we react or get irritated, we lose that magnetism. We are not able to hold the form. So these are 9 forms. The soul was a form. It got cement and concrete through DNA, it became a body. But before it was a body, it was a form. If we can see form, we'll recognize the person even after 200 years. But we only see the body. We have not learned to see the form, to see beyond. For that, you have to reach that yogic state of dharana. It is in dharana that the body falls and you see the form. Then we'll recognize people. Oh, this form has come again. It's come to meet me. So the second progress, and we said that Shailaputri was the Muladhara chakra. And the second form, now the energy is rising up, Swadhisthana. Swa no Adhisthana. Adhisthana means resting place. Residence. The second chakra, 45 degrees above the Muladhara, very small, has only 2 petals. And please understand, Swa is not ego. When we use the word I, it is ego. But when the ego dies, when the ego dissolves, the I which is there is Swa. Ego is Aham. From Aham we move to Swa. Swa no Adhishthan. what do we say? When we take a, what do you call, statue to the temple, and then we do some puja and we put the statue on a pedestal in the temple, and we say, Pran Pratisthate. We have established this statue. Now it is no ordinary statue. This statue has certain qualities. And when we look at that statue in a certain way, we imbibe those qualities. We try to create those qualities as a form, not as a material. That is why I am trying to explain this. So Swarna or Adhishthan, we have now put the real self on the pedestal of the inner temple. We have established the real self, and that is Brahmacharini. What does it mean to rise to the Swadhisthana Chakra? Birth and death are synonymous. In the birth of one soul, there is death on a very, very large scale. Without death on a large scale, there cannot be birth. For one soul to be born, millions and millions of sperm cells have to die. This is the law. Science says that only one cell has to reach. But science also says that if there are below 20 million, then this person is suffering from a low sperm count. Why do you need the count if only one has to reach? But something else. It is not the energy, it is not the sex energy which gives birth, it is the energy of death which gives birth. And it is the energy at the level of the cell, millions and millions of cells are dying, they are creating that energy of death so that something can pass through an unseen dimension into a seen dimension. The soul is born through the womb of the mother. Death and life are synonymous. Death and birth are synonymous. Just as we have millions of sperm cells, we have millions of desires. Now, Muladhara Chakra, the mountain. The quality of Muladhara Chakra is greed. The basic quality of the Muladhara Chakra is gravity. Greed, gravity plus ego becomes greed. Can you see? I am attracted to this gravity. But I can't live without this ego, greed. Am I coming across in this? Gravity is natural. It is nature. Greed is man-made. There is no greed in nature. So this is the quality of the Muladhara Chakra. And every time somebody walks on the spiritual path, it is this chakra which pulls us down. The gravity keeps, we try to escape, the chakra pulls us down. Some new desire, and the gravity pulls us down. People say, I'll go into spirituality after I earn so much money. Something is always pulling them down. It's the mountain, the Muladhara Chakra, the heavy gravity. And here the daughter of the mountain has been born, Shailapur. And the next progression, the next form is Brahmacharini Swadhisthana. But that swa, that real I, cannot be put on the pedestal of the temple unless millions die. For that I to be born, for her to remember that she was Sati in her last birth, millions and millions have to die. Only death and life are synonymous. It is death which gives rebirth. And it is these millions of desires that we have. Because Kam is at Swadhisthana. Kamna. We have to sacrifice our desires. Kamnani mrutyuma kamdevno janam che. But how many desires do we have? And do we keep on creating new desires? Then we'll never reach the Swadhisthana chakra. It's not possible. It is not a question of doing some asana and pranayam and all that. That is just a net practice. No Shaktipat is going to help. And if Shaktipat helps and gives us a glimpse and we are not free of desire, we'll create more problems for ourselves. There has to be sacrifice of personal desire. I want to see my son get married, and then after his son gets married, maybe the son of the son gets married. And desires upon desires upon desires. Really, no person is afraid of death. The only fear we have, if death comes, it is the ending of desire. What will happen to all our desires? That is why we are frightened of death. So many desires. So, at what you call Swadhisthana, the energy is calm. To control the energy of calm, to transform the energy of calm, we sacrifice our desires. The desires die, and what is born is the real I. Swadhisthana. Swano Adhisthana. Just as the millions of sperm cells had. This is the law. The law at any level in the universe is the same. The laws cannot change. And Brahmacharini is born, the second Devi, the second form, whose attention is churning, is moving only in consciousness, in Brahma, nowhere else. Now we have come to a state where we are holding double-arrowed attention all 24 hours. She is barefooted. She is barefooted. She is stable. Her attention is one-pointed, so she is stable. Her attention is always on her aim. Gurdjieff was a great teacher, one of the greatest teachers of the last century. And he had a study house. And in that study house there were so many sayings. And the first saying was, remember your aim always and everywhere. Your aim is the higher. Somebody steals something from you, somebody cheats you, you feel offended, remember your aim. Your aim is to move higher. The minute you react, the minute you criticize, then you follow. Your aim is to move higher. Remember your aim. Every moment of life, remember your aim. This is called Surati. We say the bhakti yogis had surati. They remembered their aim every moment. Her attention is in Brahma, always remembering the aim. In her hand she has a Rudrax mala, Akshakabal. In the other hand she has a Kamandala, a small, vessel of water. Beautiful. Barefooted. She's stuck to the ground. She's grounded, totally grounded. This word Rudrax. Rudra means angry. Aksh means eye. Rudra Aksh. Anger is the highest form of negativity we have. It is the most precious energy we normally have, and we waste it. But if we can observe it, we transform it into something totally different. Many times people come to me and they say that I have a lot of anger. So I said, you've got a lot of raw material. Right? I keep looking inside, no raw material, what can I do? I'm a poor man. Right? But you have a lot of raw material. Just Rudra Aksha, observe the anger. Observation of anger. She has this Rudraksh mala. She's observing the, most potent form of negativity. It's a beautiful thing over here. To see the sun in the eclipse, we have to keep a, pail of water. So we look at the reflection of the sun in the water. To see the divine, we can't see the divine directly. We need a pail of water so that we see its reflection first. This pail of water which we create, my energy gave it a name, the energy of essence of consciousness. When we sing to Hanuman, we say, Nijman Mukur Sudhari. I've created that pail, I've created that mirror where the reflection can come in. I've created that. That energy is created from the transformation of anger. She's holding a Rudraksh mala in her hand. She is now observing her consciousness, one-pointed attention is of the highest order. Every moment she's transforming something into the very high. The energy of essence of consciousness. And in that the divine reflects. We collect it. People think a mala is for counting. I've never seen a more stupid explanation. Never do jump and count. God does not know mathematics. Better you teach him arithmetic first, then do it. Don't count. Because when you count, you're in the logical mind, and the whole idea is to transcend the logical mind. The very idea of doing the japa is to move ahead. And we keep on counting and we are stuck in the logical. Did I do 108? What difference does it make to him? There the counting is of a different order. 1 can be more than 108 and 108,000 can be less than 1. There the mathematics is of a different order. It is not how much you have done, how you have done. Have you done in double arrowed attention? Is there a feeling of self when you are doing it? The mala had a special function. We've lost that function. Maybe someday I'll be able to sit here and talk about my Guru's diagrams. He has drawn diagrams of the brain. There are 5 diagrams. And yesterday we talked about 2482 to 5221 and 3A, 3B, 3C. These are all different diagrams where we move on the path of consciousness. And in the final diagram, he has drawn 9 points here, which we rotate a certain energy. It is like the 7 stars of the Great Bear, where we look at the stars and we rotate our neck in that formation towards the pole star. A certain circulation happens over there. The mala is for rotation in the brain through those certain points. There is a sensitivity to the bead. When you touch the bead, you're filling that bead with life. The pulse, you're holding it, you remember your pulse, you feel your pulse, and you're filling, giving that swirl to the bead. You're saying, I present this to you. You're filling electricity, prana into the bead. It is not an ordinary bead. That is why Rudrax, it is of a special quality. It can hold magnetism. So we hold it like this and we sense it. And we try to sense our pulse at the same time. In that pulse we are threading it. Not the literal threading. We are threading it. And we are threading it with a certain kind of sensitivity. And as we move, each bead becomes more and more sensitive. And a point comes when your mala, instead of your giving it sensitivity, it is returning the sensitivity back to you. We will move through different points in the brain. And each point will have its own sensitivity. And the mala will help us to remember that sensitivity. And we'll go round and round and round and 108. It has nothing to do with counting. You count your money, you don't count the mala. So she's holding a Rudrax mala in her hand. She's transformed the anger, Rudra. She's transformed the anger by observing, throwing the light of observation on it. We can break down the words. Kshar, to give, and akshar, not give, but we won't say not give, receive. Kshar, to give, akshar, not give, receive. So we won't use the word not give. Now this is the mudra for that day. So the dance on that day will be of the giving and receiving. The giving and the receiving. These will be the two ways in which the dance is done. Nothing in spirituality is static. If it is static, it sort of starts decaying. In Israel there are two seas, the Sea of Galilee and the Dead Sea. From the Dead Sea nothing flows out, everything flows in, everything is dead. But the Sea of Galilee, it flows into the river Jordan. Everything is alive. Similarly, there is static energy, but that static energy in spirituality is held active. That is why we give that static energy the symbol of the cobra. Agar, ga to move, agar not to move, na agar not to move. Nagar. It's static energy. He's saying, I'm actively, you see, each word he's saying something. I'm actively holding that energy. It is full of dynamism, that energy, even though it is static, it is not static, it is full of dynamism. That is why they give the, symbol of the cobra. Moving, not moving, not moving. Beautiful description. So, the giving mudra and the receiving mudra. In the receiving mudra there is gratitude. In the giving mudra there is compassion. In dance the giving mudra is called as Varun mudra. Akshar also means varna, letters. Akshar, the letters. The letters of the Sanskrit alphabet are nothing but Kundalini Shakti. That Kundalini energy, when she separated from Shiva and she rotated around the backbone 51 times, and those 51 rotations became the letters of the Sanskrit alphabet. Maybe one day we'll keep a camp on just how mantra was created, how these letters rearrange themselves, what is the power in those letters. It's so fascinating. So here in the creation of the Swadhisthana chakra, she's holding the mala. In the other hand, she's holding a kamandala, a small glass of water. She's saying, I'm free of greed. When we have a big picture of water, we are storing water for tomorrow. She's saying, I just have a small kamandala of water, enough for me to drink. I'm not storing anything. She's free of the Muladhara, the greed, the gravitation of the Muladhara. The Swadhisthana has the water aspect. In a glass, the water is fresh. But if we store water, maybe I'm guilty of storing the most. Because I live in a place where all the water has become brackish. So we have to store rainwater to last throughout the year. The water has become salty. In the wells, water is salty. And for last 3 years, there was no rain. Luckily, this year it's now rain, so we have enough water for next 3 years. Right? It didn't rain. You won't believe it, till I came here, I was drinking water of 3 years old. And I don't use any filter or boiling or anything. But she's holding a small glass. Everything is fresh. It says, she's saying that she's always in the present moment. The present moment is always fresh. You see, this is where we make mistakes in translating the scriptures. The scriptures will say, Kuwari Kanya, virgin girl. Right? So we will gather them and have a puja and all that. And we don't understand when the scriptures are saying Kuwari Kanya, they're not talking about a virgin girl. They're saying each moment in life is a virgin girl. Because the present moment is Prakruti. That which is observing the present moment is Purush, God. So she has this kamandala in her hand. Vairagya. But in that small amount of water, her thirst is quenched. Can we quench our thirst? Is our thirst quenched? Only when desires fall will our thirst be quenched. Otherwise, one desire will give place to another desire, and another desire will rise. It's like we are going to catch the horizon, and I'll run to catch the horizon. I'll say, I'll catch the setting sun, and the further I keep running, the further the horizon, the sun will go away. I can never catch the setting sun. Similarly, I can never fulfill all my desires. No one has ever fulfilled his desires. It's not possible. But we can be free of desire. So she's saying, each moment I live in the moment, I don't store for the future. I'm free of desire. From the Muladhara, I move to the Swadhisthana. The next Devi, Chandra Ghanta. Each one is a different function. She's called Chandra Ghanta because on her forehead she is wearing a half moon. But now the first two were Kuwaris, they were not married. Now she is married. She's married to Shiva. The story goes that Narad came to her and told her to pay obeisance to Shiva. And she did tapa, she did the austerities, and Shiva agreed to marry her. And Shiva came with all his hordes, and in his hordes were ghosts and half ghosts and God knows what. Right? And he was dressed in the dress he wears when he comes out of the cremation ground, the smashan, full of ash. And here, Chandraghanta, Parvati, daughter of the mountain, her mother's name is Maina. She sees Shiva, this is my son-in-law, and she faints. She faints, she becomes unconscious. Is she going to marry this? Do we marry a body or do we marry a psychology? What do we marry? Body. The psychology has the form, the body has the material. So, Chandraghanta is now that root, that form, where she was Brahmacharini and she changes her form so she can please Shiva. The art of changing form to please the other person. And Shiva goes and wears a good suit with a tie and everything. Right? He's dressed as a prince. And he comes back, she awakens the mother, and the wedding is done. There's a beautiful story of Mahatma Gandhi and Rabindranath Tagore. Mahatma Gandhi had gone to live in Tagore's place in Calcutta, Shantiniketan. And they were supposed to go for a walk at 5 in the evening. And Gandhiji was a stickler for time, right down to the second. He used to have timekeepers. And somebody who was very close to me had served as his timekeeper for 3 days. This is in real. He's not living, that person, any longer. But he was very close to me. And he had served as Gandhiji's timekeeper in the Bardoli Satyagraha. And he said he was such a sticker for time. He would say, Nehru is coming to meet me, it is 3 minutes and 20 seconds. At 20 seconds, it is not my duty, you asked him to leave. Right? And the timekeeper had to do this. Vallabhbhai Patel is coming to meet me, this much time I have given him. As soon as that time is over, you have to ask him to leave. He'll stop talking, he won't. And that was Gandhiji. And this person, he told me how he had to ask Nehru to leave and Vallabhbhai Patel to leave, even though the conversation was not over. So they were supposed to go for a walk at 5 o'clock. And Gandhiji is waiting at Rabindranath Tagore's room door, and Tagore is in front of the mirror and he's combing his beard. And he comes out at 5:30. Gandhiji is irritated. People who are a sticker for time, they're always irritated. Right? And he says, we were supposed to go at 5 o'clock. And he says, yes, but even my appearance, if it is not proper for somebody else, it is a form of hinsa. It is a form of violence. And Gandhiji writes in his diary that I learned a new lesson in non-violence that day. He was a very authentic person. He was open. I learned a new lesson. That even your appearance to somebody, if it creates a sort of resentment in that person's mind, if that person has a feeling of resentment, that also is violence. So she dressed herself up to please Shiva, and she must have pleased him. He changed his clothes, they got married. Now, when we go into the Shastra, we will see different kinds of birth. And I'll just go through them. They say Shedaj is bacteria. That is that which is created out of perspiration. Udbij, the vegetable kingdom. Andaj, which is created from the egg. Jarayuj, which is created from the womb, like humans give birth from the womb. And then they talk of one more kind of birth. It is called Pinda. This is the birth of a new self, the new I. And we have a whole ceremony on that. That when somebody dies, we make a symbol of the pind. Pind is not the body. Pind is not the body which all the priests tell us. It is not the body. Pind is the body has died and something new we want to be born, which is the real I. And we are saying in the next birth, give birth to the real I, don't give birth to the ego. That is Pind ceremony. Of course, we just do it mechanically and whatever. I remember 6 months before my father died, he did his own ceremony. He went and put his... He knew exactly what the ceremony was for. So, next time you do all these ceremonies, try to do it with double-arrowed attention. Try to see the real reason why we are doing it. What is the hidden science in doing it? That which is born from the pind is not ordinary nature. It is something higher than nature. Something which is not a part of nature. It is that which has created nature. That which observes nature every moment. So here we have the birth of the real self, Chandra Ghanta. We have come out of the Swadhisthana chakra. We are moving ahead. It's the real self, Pindaj. The birth of the real self. The aham has died, the ego has died. Chandra means light. that which is glittering, that which is bright. It also means to rejoice, to celebrate. It is this night that we are receiving and we are giving. If we just receive and hold on to and don't give, it will become stale, it will become static. That is why the two mudras in the dance. Because she put a tilak of a half moon after marrying Shiva, she is called Chandra Ghanta. The tilak was of a half moon shaped like a bell. Ghant means a bell, it also means the word which goes across. The Bible says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. And the Word was God. And the Word was God. The bell is the sounding of the Word. There are two movements which come out of the bell. One is reverberation, one is resonance. When we go to a temple and we ring the bell, does it just reverberate, or do we create a resonance out of it? Resonance has the power of breaking the old and creating the new. Resonance has the power of destroying the impurity. The bell reverberates. And it is our consciousness which turns that reverberation into resonance. That is why we ring the bell. We ring the bell. And the bell is a kind of gift. Because when the reverberations of the bell come in through our ears, our mind calms down. But the idea of resonating is when the vibrations come into our thinking instrument, we make a conscious effort to extend them further. When something bounces off, it starts resonating. This is the whole secret of having a bell in the temple. But we just mechanically ring the bell and go ahead. And whether we hear even the reverberations or not, I don't know. Let alone creating resonance out of it. The creation. This conscious effort. You don't get anything for free. You make an effort. Ghanta. It gives our awareness a certain form. Now next time we go to the temple and we ring the bell, say we are calling this Devi Chandra Ghanta. Make an effort. We are asking for her grace to fall upon us. We are invoking her. We are allowing her qualities to become a part of our being. But as long as our mind is chattering, what reverberations will we hear? As long as this monkey is doing buck, 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 buck all the time, then it is those reverberations which come into the mind, they calm the monkey, and then we go to do worship of the statue, the form. The form. Now the statue is cement, concrete, marble or whatever. But if we can hold the form inside, a form is created. That form is not the statue. That is the hidden form in that statue. It tells us the secrets of that statue. It tells us the qualities of that statue. By dharana, holding it in. Half moon means dharana. Holding the reverberations of the bell. The top of the bell represents Swahalok, the heavens. The circular bottom represents the earth. The bell is everything in the universe. The bell is the whole universe. And the clapper inside is the word of God. It is the sound of God coming forth. And the emptiness, the shunyata inside is that space in which that God lives. The absolute is pure, dynamic nothingness. It is not an ordinary bell. So we hold our presence and we ring the bell. We feel the vibrations of the bell coming into our mind. We allow it to calm our thoughts, and then we bounce them back. We create a resonance out of them. This bell awakens us from the sleep of life. Now, the bell moves through different pitches. When we ring the bell, the pitch is a gross pitch. But as time passes, the bell moves into a very, very, higher pitch. As if it is dissolving into something. The gross pitch is Muladhara. The high pitch is Bindu, or you can say Sahasrara if you want. It is actually Bindu, not Sahasrara. It is a whole inner movement in the ringing of that bell. You're moving from one end of the universe to the other. The energy is rising and piercing the spot where God lives. We are holding our presence. Presence is God. The word of God, mantra, was created from that reverberations of the bell. It tells us that everything in life has a beginning and ending, just as the sound of the bell started and the bell vanished into empty space. Everything in life but try to look with this beginning and ending, try to look for that which has no beginning and no end. It is awakening our consciousness to that. As the pitch moves higher, it moves up and it pierces the central brain cavity, which is called the Brahmarandra. The lower tones, they calm our passions, they calm the anger, they calm the inner restlessness. And as we resonate the sounds of the bell, our whole being is vibrating at a different frequency. Now we have entered the temple. Chandra Ghanta, the entry. She is teaching us how to enter the temple. And then we look at the form in the temple. And when we look at the form and close our eyes, an upside down image of the form is created within us. And we hold that image. And things will then start happening. Then you won't see the statue, you will see the form behind the statue. And it will reveal what is hidden in that statue. This is the way we worship in temples. We should be worshipping. And of course we go and, God, please give me a new car tomorrow. We observe our moods, because as the bell rings, we pass through, and the sound goes through its different successive stages. We pass through different moods inside. Those moods are very important for our worship. Chandra Ghanta, the ringing of the bell.
So when you focus on the reverberation and the resonance of the bell, that helps you to identify the form.
Yeah, because it creates empty space. Otherwise we are filled with our own thoughts, filled with our own feelings, and we want the feeling which is hidden in the statue. We want the thoughts to come out of those feelings. They should give us gyan, those thoughts. They should give us knowledge. But if we already have our own thoughts, then nothing is going to work, no? So that bell, it calms our passions, it calms our thoughts, and if we resonate it, then we are lifted to something higher where we understand the statue, the form. And then that statue has certain emotions. We are able to imbibe those emotions. Supposing we are looking at one form, so it will have certain emotions in that. Say Shantaras, one form. So we are imbibing that meditative form of the statue. You get it? We go a little lower. Supposing it has Maitri Bhav, then we are imbibing that friendship which is hidden in the form. We go a little lower, Vatsalya Bhav. The bhav the mother has for the child, we imbibe that. Right? The heart, love, we imbibe from the statue. And then we go much lower, Rati Bhav. The attraction and repulsion, the joy of sex, we imbibe it from the statue, from the form. So when you look at this one form, so many things are happening. It's like a chemical process happening inside. The statue is giving you all these things. No? The form is giving you all these things. You come into the meditative attitude, Shanta Bhav. You come into a state of friendliness, not my friend, just friendliness, Mitra Bhav. You come into a state of motherly love. You come into a state of expanding love. And you enjoy the joy of sex. Everything in one darshan. That is the way we look at the statue. The statue gives us all of this. It is hidden in the statue. It is hidden in the form. Right? There is an expansion of the energy of sensitivity. Gaurvardhan is an expansion of the energy. So much is hidden in just one darshan. So much is hidden. I mean, it transforms everything. Yeah? But if this monkey is chattering, the share market is going to start in half an hour. Right? It cannot work, no? Because there's no bell over here. I suppose we should get a good bell. Yeah? Because the bell, it prepares us for that. The bell prepares us. She's now prepared for the next few forms of the Devi Durga. Yeah? The bell breaks down all the stagnant energies within us. It changes the frequency of the surrounding around us. Just one ringing of the bell in the temple. So Chandra Ghanta. Now another meaning of the word Chand is white hot heat. To come into anger. What is this white hot heat? And my guru used to say, you'll never get it unless you come into a state of white hot heat. When you melt iron, it becomes red. But when you keep on giving it heat, at one point from red it becomes white. That is the passion with which we should approach our spiritual progress. White hot heat. Shouldn't be a hobby. Chandra Ghanta, the white hot heat. Now she has her aim on Shiva and only one thing, to go through the other, rise up to that higher state of consciousness. How much do we value our progress? How much do we value our consciousness? She has 10 hands. Just as Brahmacharini had 2 hands, she has 10 hands. The Trishul, the 3-pointed spear. We took it in the first meeting, right? I just double arrowed attention, but something is watching both you and me, that is 3-pointed. 3-pointed also means thinking, feeling, knowing. Knowing, feeling, sensing, moving. It's a very funny thing that Gurdjieff he used to use very funny terms for this. So he used to call this as part dog duty. So he would say man is not a fully man, he's part dog. And this is his duty. What is his duty? To sense, feel and know at the same time. You're trying to understand your knowing. But is there a feeling and are you sensing where you are? He's saying all 3 must happen at the same time. He says this is the basic duty of every human being. And unless he does it, he's part dog. Right? So instead of sensing, we may be moving. So you're thinking, feeling and moving. You're looking at all 3 at the same time. Trishul. That is what Trishul means. The next hand has a Gada or mace. Gada comes from the word Gadya. When we were in school, we studied Gadya Padya. Prose and poetry. Gada means to speak beautiful words. To speak beautiful words. This is the greatest weapon in life. A person who is very egoistic, but if you go and speak some beautiful words to him, he'll do everything for you. Just some beautiful words. There's no better weapon than beautiful words. So Gada, Gadya, the art of speaking, the art of using the word of God in the right way. She has, in another hand, she has a bow. Bow is the backbone. The backbone. And the arrow is the Vajra Nadi. In another hand, she has the arrow. She has total control over the Vajra Nadi. The arrow is attention. The Vajra Nadi has a certain quality. That is why in yoga we do the Vajroli Mudra to control the Vajra Nadi. The quality of the Vajra Nadi is that everything is cyclical in life. Everything is periodical in life. Everything is a flux in life. Everything changes in life. I'm happy now. After 5 minutes I'm going to be sad. Then again after 5 minutes I'll be happy. And then I'll be in depression, and then I'll be this, then I'll be that, and everything keeps on changing. Our life is controlled by the Vajra Nadi. And she has this arrow in her hand. When we die, the soul leaves the body on the arrow of the Vajra Nadi. And she's saying, in life everything is a flux, but I am standing above it. It is in my control. And even though in the yoga books, Vajroli Mudra is a physical exercise, it's not a physical exercise. It is a psychological exercise, but nobody knows how to teach it. It's very sad. Then she has a sword. The sword is a symbol of a new birth. Something has come out of the scabbard. It is that which cuts all the impurities of life. It has come out of the yoni, the womb. It signifies release from bondage. We were bound in the womb, now we are free. It signifies by being free of negativity, by purifying the emotional center, we are free of bondage. We are free of the scabbard. The scabbard is the negativity. In another hand, she has the lotus. We talked about the lotus in the first talk. Something where no impurities can touch, which has risen above the water, which is spreading its knowledge. The seed is the knowledge, spreading the knowledge everywhere. In one hand she has the bell, another hand she has that picture, that glass of water, Kamandala. Another hand is in Abhay Mudra, no fear. The other hand is the Mala, the Abhay Mudra. I think it is like this. So like this is the Abhay Mudra. Free of fear. Fear is the greatest obstacle, because as long as there is fear, we can never be in the present moment. And as long as we can't be in the present moment, we can never feel our presence. The presence can only be felt in the present, and fear never allows us to be in the present. Abhay Mudra, free of fear. So these are her 10 hands. We just look at the astrological significance. Yesterday we did Brahmacharini. We said on the first day of Navratri, the Nakshatra is Hasta Nakshatra. The second day is Chitra. Chitra means Spica, the star Spica. The moon is in the constellation of Spica on the second day. Spica means speckled. If you see what you call Russell's viper, they call it as chitta. That is one which is speckled, has dots on it. When we are able to observe the film of our thought, we have imbibed the higher qualities of Chitra Nakshatra. The second day is a period of self-observation. We are separated from the film of life. Chitra is ruled by Mars. We saw on the first day was Hasta Nakshatra, ruled by the moon, the lord of the night. And Mars is the ruler of energy. To move ahead, we need energy. We need martial energy. We need passionate energy. Chitra is a beautiful nakshatra to be born. It is the giver of riches. It is that which loves dance. It is that which loves music. The Vishwakarma, the celestial architect, he is the lord of Chitra Nakshatra. The power to hold a thought in the mind, the power to make a design in the mind and hold that design. Many of us don't have that power to conceptualize the magnetism of the planets. So yesterday, in the second day of Navratri, was Chitra Nakshatra. The third day is Swati Nakshatra. Chandra Ghanta, Swati Nakshatra. In English it is called as Arcturus, the constellation Arcturus. Swati comes from the word Suati. Su means prosperous. Su means very good. Ati means very, very good. I don't know how the rishis chose these constellations. None of the constellations are negative. None of the constellations are negative. How did they choose these? We saw that Brahmacharini was barefooted, but Chandra Ghanta comes riding on a tiger. She comes riding on a tiger. The tiger is the symbol of all animal power. The power to go ahead, the power to be free of negativity. Now, on the first day we said there are two types of Shaktis, Devi Shakti and Asuri Shakti. Devi, that which leads us to consciousness. Asuri, that which takes us more into the hypnotism of the passions of life. Now these demonic energies which take us down into the passions of life, they will be of different kinds. Some have to be worked with in a soft way, and some have to be killed outright. When the Devi is on a violent animal like the tiger, that means the lower negativity has to be killed outright. When she is riding on a soft, we have to work with that negativity in a different way. Swati Nakshatra. Very good. Very, very good. Its Lord is Jupiter, Guru. Let's talk a little about what Jupiter is. What is Guru? What is Jupiter? We have a physical body. We may be able to create one more body called the astral body. We may be able to create another body called the mental body. I can't go into it today. It's not much time. But similarly, the earth is making an astral body. In its atmosphere is the astral. The sun is making a mental body. Planets die, man dies. If he has created a proper astral body, he can be conscious even after death in some other space and time. Jupiter is the planet which gives 80% of the magnetism in the solar system. It is the creator of magnetism. All planets take in energy from the sun and they give out, they emanate the same energy. Scientists today are quite sure that Jupiter creates some of its own energy, just the way the sun is creating its energy. I'm sure the rishis knew about this. Now, some planet must have died. The physical planet must have died. The astral planet must have died. But the mental is somewhere there. Like the mental body, our mental body would have, say, a life of 2,500 years. So Buddha said, my mental body will come in the form of Maitri, friendship. Right? After now the time has come, 2,500 years after he died. So Jupiter is such a planet which has become aligned with some other planet which has died long ago. But the power of that planet is behind Jupiter. And my guru used to say it is because of Jupiter that there is life in this solar system. It is getting the power, the magnetism from that planet which science will never be able to see. But it is there and it is giving the power to Jupiter. It is giving that light to Jupiter. And those vibrations are falling on us. Jupiter is a very, very potent planet. And we say on the earth, which is the most, where do we get the highest vibrations on the earth? That place where has the same vibrations as Jupiter. And we say Gaumukh, the place where the Ganges river starts. That is the point, which is Jupiter on the earth. That is the Bindu Chakra, where the divine sits. The earth's Bindu is Gaumukh. The earth's Sahasrara is Rishikesh. The earth's Taluka is Haridwar. All these chakras, the earth has 7 chakras. One is in Rameshwaram, one is in the Rocky Mountains, one is in Salzburg, one is in Scotland. Okay, some other time. Right? So these different spots on the earth. But the highest point on the earth, where the vibrations are the highest of the quality of Jupiter, is Gaumukh. So this, on the 3rd day of Navratri, the Lord is Jupiter, Guru. He is the Lord. It is a time of rejoicing. But that constellation is also ruled by Vayu, the wind god. And to rejoice, the breath must be in a proper rhythm. There must be pranayam. There's a whole... In India, there was a whole way of imbibing the vibrations of Jupiter. They would do different fasts, different things to get the vibrations of Jupiter. Jupiter is the most benefic planet. Many times I used to go and my teacher would say that I look at a person, I see where his Jupiter is. And Jupiter comes on the lines of our forehead. And I know everything about the person. It tells me how much he has progressed, whether he is going to make an effort to progress. That is why he is called Guru. Guru. He enlightens the path. So now Brahmacharini has become Chandra Ghanta. This is the Manipur Chakra. The Manipur Chakra. The Manipur Chakra has growth, just as Muladhara has lobh, greed, Swadhisthana had calm, desire, Manipur has growth, anger. Right use of anger. That right use of anger is the 3rd day of Navratri, Chandra Ghanta. Shall we talk about it? Huh? Or are you tired?
No, let's...
You're tired, then we'll keep it for some other time.
No, let's continue.
Huh?
Let's continue.
We don't know how valuable anger is. Nature wants our anger. Nature wants our anger. It is such a high vibrating energy that she creates conditions where we get angry and we throw it out and she loves it. We feel she is at fault and he is at fault and that person is at fault. Nature is at fault. You know, she throws the net and we get caught. We are in a hurry to go for an appointment and nature punctures the tire. Right? And we get angry and she gets everything. She's laughing. She creates all these situations. She wants that high potency energy. She uses it in so many ways. No animal gets angry. Where will she get it from? No plant gets angry. Only one source. Only one source. She loves it when man gets angry. And if 1,000 people get angry together, more happy she is. She uses that energy to awaken life in those dead parts of the solar system. So, she plays a trick on us. And that trick is, there are two stages of anger. One, I get angry. The other, I express my anger. One, I get angry. The other, I express my anger. The two stages. But it happens so fast, we don't realize that these are two stages. Everything is one only. It just flows. So what trick she plays? She doesn't allow us to realize the gap between getting angry and expressing the anger. She doesn't allow us to realize that gap. For that, she puts in a little valuable energy within us, so that we don't realize the gap. It's like Som Ras, the highest wine, not the wine which you get in the world. It's better than the vintage champagne, right? The highest wine. She makes us drink it, and we don't realize it. And we feel that there is no gap between getting angry and expressing the anger, but she has put something in between. Because she wants that energy. Now the time has come to cheat nature. So what will we do? We'll allow ourselves to get angry. And we'll play the game till we are going to express the anger. We will take the vintage champagne from nature, and then we'll take the anger back. Manipur Chakra. Transform the Manipur. We kill the Manipur Chakra totally. The Manipur Chakra is reaction. And the greatest reaction is anger. So we say we are victims of the Manipur Chakra. We are, victims of anger. We become angry. Nature gives us a little bit of very fine energy, beautiful energy. And the minute we see that energy, feel that energy entering into our system, we say bye-bye and we take the anger back. This is Tantra. This is Tantra. The highest form of Tantra. Not written in any books. Chandra Ghanta. She's the Manipur Chakra. She's rising, she's piercing the Manipur Chakra. Actually, she's closing the Manipur Chakra. Using anger as the highest form of sadhana, as the highest austerity, as the highest penance. And that beautiful energy which nature gives us, it is the bridge to the divine. It is when we are full of that energy, even a little bit of that energy, it brings so much of what you call joy, bliss, as if we are drunk with something. The highest to be drunk, the highest. You steal it from them. And this is what it says. And slowly the Manipur Chakra will die, a new chakra will open, Kundli. And once the Kundli Chakra opens, we can never react in life. We are free of reaction. We are now come to the stage where we cannot go down again. Now we are going to rise higher tomorrow. Right? So Manipura is reaction, Kundli is response. Manipur is excitement, Kundli is sensitivity. In excitement we want new things every day. Which is the new movie today? What will I do in the evening? Something new I need this evening. Right? And in sensitivity, the old becomes new every moment. The same wife but always new. The same car but always new. The same TV but always new. The same exercises we do but always new. Everything Each moment of life is new. We are free from excitement. The Manipur has died. The Manipur is excitement. We opened a new chakra called Kundi. So much joy comes in our life. It's a period of joy, happiness. Right? I'll stop over here. Right? Any questions anyone has? We still 1 minute we have. Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit on the food and magnetism? You say, like when we have food, there is a magnetism that makes us react.
Yeah. What I'll do is tomorrow I'll draw it on the board. The 3 kinds of food and what we extract from it. Okay, I'll take it on the board tomorrow. I can't just talk about it. It's a part of a little, So if I just talk about it, it'll be a little like incomplete. Yeah.
What's the significance of a certain nakshatra under which you're born, and how does that play out through life? And what can one do to either enhance it or...
Each nakshatra has to... See, I told the story, I'll tell it again. I don't know if you were there that day. Chandra is the moon, right? The mind. Chandra is the mind. The moon is married to 27 daughters of Daksh Prajapati. Like his other daughter Sati was married to Shiva. These are the 27 nakshatras. These 27 daughters. They are all female. They are all female. The moon is male. The moon is the mind. The mind has a lower psychic nature, it has a higher psychic nature. The lower psychic nature we call as Chandra. The higher psychic nature we call as Som. Kitte Som Ras Pidho. Ganga Sati tells Panda. Right? Have you had after you have transformed your lower psychic nature into the higher, do you drink that divine? Right? But first you have to transform. Now the moon in every lunar month passes through all 27 constellations. So each of the 27 constellations is a facet of the mind. A lower part and the higher part. It signifies that part. Right? Now when you look at a horoscope, I don't know if everybody is interested in this. Right? Now you say the first house in the horoscope is what is called as Lagna. Lagna. Right? Lagna means the ascendant. Just as the sun rises in the east. So you will say it rises at 7 o'clock in the morning. Right? Now, at the time of your birth, which sign was rising on the eastern horizon? You understand what I'm trying to say? That is your first house, the ascendant, the Lagna. Huh? That is the most important house in any horoscope. But which nakshatra was there? The qualities of that nakshatra will be your basic qualities. The type of person you are. Now, so those 27 nakshatras will go through 12 houses in the horoscope. That is, each house will be 2.5 nakshatras. Right? But again, I don't want to go deep because the sun is rising, but just now we are assuming everything is 0 degrees, but 15 degrees of the house may have passed. So I don't want to go into all those details because then you have to go into right ascendant and all that. What I want to say is that each house represents something. Supposing you take the 7th house. So I'll see the nakshatras in the 7th house. And I'll say the qualities of the person you are going to marry will be this, this, this. Can you understand now what I'm trying to say? Or you will say, what profession should I take? So I'll see the qualities of the 10th house, the karma house. Right? Which nakshatras are in the karma house? And I'll say this is possible, this is possible, this is possible. But each will have a lower part and a higher part. The higher part is the spiritual part. That when you move above the lower part, this is the spiritual quality which is easily accessible to you. You understand? So this is what is the nakshatras. They are facets of the mind which never change. Nakshatra, that which never changes. That which is immovable. You get it? Constellation. But there is the lower mind and the higher mind. Our aim in life is the transformation of the lower mind. Now supposing I say the 9th house is the house of destiny, say. And I say that these are the nakshatras in the 9th house. So I'll tell you, these kind of lower qualities will come to meet you in your life. Maybe in the form of friendship, maybe in the form of wine or something. Right? It will come to meet you. Whether you recognize it or not is different. That was what the whole astrology was, a part of recognizing the lower so we can move into the higher. Right? Now they use it how to be happy in the lower. And I don't see astrology that way. So if somebody comes to me for that, I say you go to somebody else. Of course, I have somebody else who helps me, and I give it to her, and she gives me the answers. Right? But if you want to open the higher, then what qualities will come to meet you? What qualities are in your karma? What qualities are in your friendship, in your partnership? What different forms of health and problems of health will come to meet you? These the nakshatras of each house tell us. You understand? Mm-hmm. Right. So that is. I don't know if I've been able to explain. Yes. I'll stop over here. Thank you. Tomorrow we'll meet again with God's grace at 7 o'clock. You've been very patient. Thank you once again. Good.
We are very thankful to Rajan Bhai. The time is not enough anywhere for us, but whatever we can, we should take it. And please do come tomorrow and let's enjoy the feast. And again, I'm very thankful to Rajan.